Afterburner Climax.
Outrun with planes, 10 out of 10. I'm just kidding, this is obviously Afterburner. Actually Afterburner Climax for the 360 and the PlayStation 3. We're watching the 360 version here. And some of you might remember the arcade classic back from the late 80s and early 90s, which was an excellent game, especially the sit-down cabinet that rotated around with you and started vibrating if you got shot down. Of course you don't get this at home in your own living room, but since it's been almost 2 decades since the last Afterburner game, you do get excellent 3D graphics and a great sense of speed. My favorite part about the game isn't the speed or the gameplay in itself, it has to be the story, or actually the lack thereof. I'm so sick and tired of all these games that have all these convoluted stories about conspiracies and Russian double agents and things that didn't happen because and it was all a dream and things. In this you have to go against the evil sea army because they got the nukes. So you fly out and you shoot all their guys with missiles. That's a great story. We need more games like that again. Actually, that's not quite true. It does have tremendous gameplay. It's pretty much the same as the old Afterburner games, but there's a few changes here and there. You can still adjust your speed up and down to avoid enemies that are coming from behind, or catch up to, say, stealth bombers that you need to shoot down with your machine guns. One of the other small features is that the missiles now recharge automatically over time, and you don't need to get them between levels at refueling stations. This is after all a game about modern warfare, so modern warfare is not about throwing knives or riot shields or night vision goggles, no, it's recharging missiles. The biggest new feature in the game is the Climax gauge, which slowly recharges as you kill enemies, and when it's full you can unleash a sort of bullet time where you get a larger crosshair so you can target more enemies at once and fire off an infinite number of missiles for a few seconds. There are obviously still rolls in the game that you can use to avoid enemy missiles or roll straight into a mountain, as I do quite a few times in this review. It doesn't really matter how many times I get shut down though, as the enemy sea army must die before they launch all their nukes. There are 2 different gameplay modes in the game. We've been watching the score attack mode right now, which is actually Afterburner Climax in its most basic form, where you try to compete on scores on the leaderboards. But there's also an arcade mode, and the arcade mode is excellent because the more you play the arcade mode, the more stuff you unlock. At first you unlock stuff like extra lives, but soon you start unlocking things like infinite missiles and auto targeting and auto firing gun and fast speed. Let's try and turn all that on and let's see how the game looks if it's fast and we don't have to target anything, because then it gets really ridiculous.
Enjoy the fireworks!
Afterburner Climax is a fairly short game, as you can fly through it in like 10-15 minutes. But it's a really good deal if you like a good arcade game where you can compete for scores. I forgot to mention it earlier, but there's actually a training mode in the game where you can fly through each level individually and try to memorize them to try and beat the high score on the leaderboards. Very great game. Afterburner Climax, go get it!
Unconditional surrender. The nuclear devices are secure. The recovery team has been deployed. Thanks to the brave men and women of Jaguar Flight, the world has been saved from a nuclear war. Especially you led your squadron to victory. It was a tough mission, but you battled through and came out all right. The mission is a success.